What is up, folks? This, of course, is the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. It is episode 182. It's Sunday. It's August 26th. This is 11 a.m. Pacific time. And Transference, once again, is first in the building. We also have Bradley Perot. What is up? How's it going? If you guys were in that other little live event thing, I canceled that. That was just, I have to figure out how all that works. And I know Steve figured it out for VR Roundtable. And I need to figure it out, like where it has a countdown timer and all that stuff. But eventually I'll figure that out. Let me turn down this game trailer window here. Let me just double check and make sure that, okay, yeah, I think we're good here. So that'll work. All right. So basically, today I was hoping to have a bit more of a regular show today and cover some regular things. Like, for example, the Nvidia cards that were announced, kind of get into that a little bit more. And I wanted to talk about Transference. Of course, there is a demo on PlayStation VR. When I was in Hawaii and I heard that there was a demo for Transference on PSVR, I was like, man, really? Really? They had to go and do this? And then I heard about the release date for Transference. And it's like, what, September 25th or something is the release date for Transference? I thought for sure that game was a November release, and it's coming a lot earlier than we thought. So that's exciting. I did play that demo last night. I actually played it like 3 different times. Stephen McDougal is in the building. No work for him today. VR Spry Guy, what is up? I am Ruts. Sponge 720, greetings. And SA MIK 81 is here as well. Max Grit. Bradley is saying, I can create a Nintendo Switch VR game called Fortnite VR, but it's in Xbox VR. Kev Gret, also in the building. So a lot of the original chat members that we've had over the long period of time are here. Let me go ahead and throw on my normal opening trailer that I like to use, my little intro. One sec here. VR Game Rankings. Daily Vlog Live, episode 182 for Sunday, August 26, 2018. Yes, it is another episode, another day. I'm starting to get back into the swing of things, you know, because I was out of whack for 8 or 9 days. I was on vacation. If you didn't see the episode yesterday, I was in Kauai, which is one of the islands of Hawaii. Most people go to Oahu, Honolulu, you know, that's the primary island most people go to. And then they go to Maui, but we were in Kauai. And a couple of people were wondering, well, they wanted to see actual pictures of me, like prove it, like prove you were in Kauai. I think Push That Button was saying that. And so I actually have a few pictures. This is from my wife's iPhone. That is me there kicking back on a hammock. That was at this club that we had membership to when we were there. That is the Nepali coast. We actually took that. That is me on a phone. They actually have some phone booths there, which is kind of crazy that they still have phones. Okay, see this picture right here? That is the picture I was talking about yesterday. One of my favorite moments of the entire vacation. This is my balcony. That's the balcony for the little condo that we were in, that we were staying in. And now you're going to see a video. That's the same exact balcony. This little video here, and it has a little bit of sound. This is when it just started pouring rain, and it would do this just randomly. Like, it'd be sunny, beautiful, and then all of a sudden, bam, it looks like a freaking storm has hit, and it's raining like crazy. But then like a half an hour later, it's sunny, it's dry, and everything's beautiful again. So it's kind of crazy how that works. But, oh man, I must have screwed up this video. But anyway, that was, let me switch up to something else here. Open this. And let me reopen that video. I wonder what I did with that video to screw up the ending of it. Should have checked. But yeah, here I am again on this hammock. I just wanted to show you that one picture again that I took. These are these caves, and that's a little like hidden beach that's over there. You can only get to that beach by like a ski-doo or something. And yeah, Paradise is saying glad you had a good rest. Yeah, well, okay, this picture right here, I'm telling you, man, that was my moment. It only lasted for a brief period of time, but I was chilling on a blanket. Just a beautiful scene, incredible. That is the state of Hawaii. That is the state of Hawaii. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and get into some actual news? Do you guys remember that from that movie? There was a movie 2012, right? You know, it was like the Mayan calendar, you know, 2012. And there's a scene in that movie where they're flying in an airplane and they're flying over the ocean and they see like this small area that is just burning and in flames. And they're like, oh my God, what is that? What is that? And the guy in the plane is like, that is the state of Hawaii. And I just kept saying that comment over and over again. It drove my wife just absolutely mad. Let's see. Yeah, built from the ground up, Anthony in hammock. It looked like a legit translation. What is that weird booth there, Anthony? Haven't seen a phone booth. Yeah, I haven't seen, like, you don't see phone booths anywhere anymore as far as I can tell, but they had a number of phone booths in Hawaii, which I thought was kind of interesting. That was probably the weirdest thing of the whole thing. But what I wanted to talk about real quick briefly here is the Samsung Odyssey Plus. This is something I did not cover. I haven't covered this at all. This is something that happened while I was gone. Now, you guys might remember that we were in a stream. We were doing a live stream at one point, and Sebastian checked in. And Sebastian from MRTV said, guys, there's going to be a new Samsung. Chill out. Don't buy any Samsung headsets right now because there's going to be a new Samsung. And this was like maybe a week before we got this announcement, or maybe a few days before we got this announcement. And Sebastian was on the money. You know, Samsung Odyssey Plus is a real thing. And basically, let's see here. So what we found out is that there's this new model number, this XE800ZBA, where it used to be XE800ZAA. So, you know, there's a changing of one letter from A to B. But supposedly this Samsung Odyssey Plus has a wider eye box, a wider nose opening. It might have some anti-fogging technology, which they really need to share that information with Sony. Sony, honestly, I think the PlayStation VR has a bigger issue with fogging than any of the other headsets. The lenses could potentially have a larger sweet spot, and it also might be featuring, well, we're hoping it's featuring this new anti-screen door effect technology. The other nice bonus with this is maybe this version of the Odyssey Plus, maybe this is now going to come to Europe. So it might actually come to Europe. So that is a cool thing as well, because if you're in Europe and you want a Samsung Odyssey, you actually have to import it from another country. So that could be good as well. Now, a lot of people feel like, excuse me, a lot of people feel like the Samsung Odyssey Plus is much ado about nothing, but I'm actually more interested in this than you might imagine. And it's for a couple of reasons, because one of the things that I've always heard in regards to the Samsung Odyssey, and this is also true for a number of the Windows mixed reality headsets, is that you put it on your head. You know, you put these Windows mixed reality headsets on, and if you really want to get a good FOV and like be close to the lenses in the right way, you kind of have to like readjust it in a way where it's not really designed to do that. And so I've heard people complain about that quite a bit, that you have to like readjust it in a certain way that is very annoying. And so my hope is that maybe these are some of the adjustments that have been made. The wider eye box is probably to help people that have glasses, which that doesn't help me. I want to try to get close to those lenses as possible. A larger sweet spot sounds interesting. The wider nose opening is actually a bit concerning for me because that would seemingly let in more light from the bottom, which is kind of annoying as well. Anti-fog is good. But the SDE thing, the anti-screen door, I think that's kind of huge because even though you guys might say, well, oh, that's just a gimmick and it's just going to kind of smear it a little bit so that you don't notice the screen door. But I'm telling you, sometimes there's these little aftermarket type things that we do that has, excuse me, that has a major improvement. In fact, I can go back. I mean, you guys remember back in the days with the old black and white Game Boy. I mean, the green monochrome Game Boy from way back in the days, and they would have these little things, these attachments that you could get that would magnify it and do all these things to it. And that seemed like a gimmick as well. But if you ever put one of those things on that old Game Boy, it improved it by leaps and bounds. So I honestly feel like this anti-screen door thing that they're going to put over it to kind of help, that could actually be a pretty good game changer because it's already got the higher resolution that the HTC Vive Pro has. If the price and everything is the same here, now we're seeing this video is not really indicative of that because this is their much higher resolution headset. We still haven't found out about that, but let me go ahead and go back to chat. Max Grit says, I love my current Odyssey. And Fluke says, weird, I find PSVR the best HMD I have for not fogging. It's actually the worst fogger of the bunch for me, but what I do is, all you do is hit that button, you slide it out, and you wait a few minutes, and then it defogs. That seems to work good for me. Hybrid Energy, oh man, I lost it. Chat's moving too quick. Let me go back, because Hybrid was saying... Hybrid Energy is saying the specs seem the same in Odyssey Plus and just an edit like HTC did with a weight reduction but never told anyone. Yeah, I mean, it's minor. It's certainly minor, but I think the anti-screen door thing could be pretty freaking huge. And also how it like connects to your head and getting a proper fit is a big deal there. Chris Cox says, I would like one for sim racing. Let's see. Simon Jones says, over 2 years since Vive and Rift launches, and we are still only seeing small incremental increases at best. Yeah, we're not seeing these big breakthroughs so far at this point in time, which is unfortunately. Fluke is talking about the DKs had ventilation, which really helped to stop fogging. And yeah, I don't normally have a fogging problem. When I had my HTC Vive and then now with the Oculus Rift, I very rarely have had any fogging issues with those. And part of the reason might be is because like the Oculus Rift, I believe, they kind of keep it running even when you're not using it. And I think part of that is a fogging type of thing. And PSVR is where I've always noticed a ton of fogging. So that's what we're talking about right now. Just some Samsung Odyssey Plus. Does anybody know? So this is just like an FCC leak, right? And wasn't there supposed to be some big show? Like, when's that show in Germany? Not Gamescom. Or wait, is it the IFA in Berlin? Like, when is that? Is that still coming up? Is that like next week or something? Because weren't we supposed to find out about that super high resolution Samsung? Like the one that they're showing here? Weren't we supposed to, like the IFA in like this one right here? Isn't that the IFA in Berlin? Has that still not happened? Is that like August 30th and 31st or something? So maybe we'll find out some more information on that next week. Okay, what I can go ahead and get into now, though, is I can talk a little bit about Transference. And so let me go ahead and throw up the Transference trailer for the Walter test case, which this is the demo. We can go ahead and watch this trailer real quick, and then I'll get into my experience with it.
Don't come in. That thing will happen. You're not supposed to be here.
Get out of my head! I didn't choose to be grabbed!
Hi, I'm Raymond Hayes, and I look forward to having you join the program. The test is ready and awaiting your participation.
Yeah, so that is a quick little teaser trailer for the demo for Transference, which I believe is only available on PlayStation VR. So this is one of these things that can make PC VR players jealous. Transference, I gotta say, coming into this, Transference was probably my second most wanted PC VR game, or not PC VR, but just VR period game. Maybe my second most wanted VR game behind Stormland. And I'm talking about known games that we actually know for sure. We've got video, we've got screenshots, known, recognized VR games. It was probably my second most wanted. After this demo, probably not anymore. But I don't mean to like disparage the game or anything, but it's just, I think my expectations have been nipped in the butt quite a bit, because there's a couple things about this demo. Number one, okay, so this is on PlayStation VR, and it might be running on, say, the vanilla PSVR setup with a regular PS4, not a PS4 Pro. So it's very possible that this demo has absolutely nothing to do with the PS4 Pro. And when I was in there, I mean, the resolution of standard PSVR, there is a lot of like pixelation, you know, kind of that Vaseline smearing. Now they do really good work here with the lighting. You can see on this demo here, the way the lighting is done, some of these effects going back and forth between these two different time periods by switching the lights. And it's an interesting thing. It really is. But one of the things that I kind of was disappointed with this whole Transference thing is when I found out the price. The price for Transference on PlayStation VR is $24.99, $25. And I'm imagining that will be the price on PC VR as well. I'm not sure if it's on the Steam page or what, but priced at that price, it's probably, this isn't going to be a big, long, lengthy game with a lot of meat to it. And it's very much a terror experience. I was in there. At times, it can be a bit frightening and kind of freaky. It has a bit of a Stranger Things kind of vibe to a slight degree, kind of a Black Mirror. And, you know, they do some interesting little things with it. One of the cool things about the game in general is the fact that it's kind of designed with VR in mind. They're basically saying that they're taking someone's personality quirks and they're like making a world out of that, and that then you're going to be in that world, but it's not perfect. There's going to be glitches, there's going to be problems, and so you're walking around the world of Transference, which I played this standing up with my controller in hand, kind of Resident Evil 7 style. And actually there's a lot of little parts of it that kind of remind me of Resident Evil 7. Let me go ahead and throw up a different trailer. We have another trailer of Transference. This is the Gamescom gameplay trailer, so I'll have that in the background for now. But basically, you're walking around this house, and as you're looking at things, things will flicker and like almost Jacob's Ladder. Like if you guys have ever seen Jacob's Ladder, like he's looking at a car drive by, and the people in the back of the car, their heads start wobbling and shaking and looking really weird. And you'll see flickering like that. You're looking around at stuff and you'll see this weird flickering where things kind of flicker in and out of existence a little bit. And then when you flip the light switch and you go back to June of 1993 and the whole world kind of goes, you know, it kind of reminds me of First Contact, the very end part of First Contact when it's kind of building the world. And I think it's a cool effect. These graphics here, this looks a little bit better to me. So this is probably the PC VR version that we're looking at here. And I also believe if you guys are playing this on PC VR and you're playing it on like a 1080 Ti and you're super sampling this, this could be pretty freaking powerful and pretty awesome. But it's another horror game. I mean, this is basically another horror type experience. And so some people are probably going to nope out of it right away. But let me go ahead and bounce over to chat, see what people are talking about. Test Room says, oh, this is the thing that Elijah Woods and company is on. Yeah, Spectre Vision. Now, I played the demo. I didn't see anything about Uplay. I didn't see anything about that. So maybe you can actually avoid Uplay, which is kind of cool. Fluke says it's showing 18.89 pounds on Steam. I think that is for Transference. Same price on the Oculus Store. So probably about 25 bucks. Chris Richardson, glad you survived the hurricane in Hawaii. Dude, it was sketchy for a couple of days. There were a couple of days where we didn't know. You know, we didn't know. Really, the worry was, would we get the hell out of there? Our plane flight. That was my worry, because they won't fly a plane in a certain mile per hour winds. There's a certain cutoff where they're not going to fly any planes and the airport is going to be closed. That's what I was worried about, but luckily I made it back. Let's see. Definitely look, I Am Rut says, definitely looks worth playing. Speaking of worth playing, just finished Moss the other night. What an amazing game. Yeah, I absolutely have to get back into Moss. Never completely finished that. Hybrid Energy says, the upload VR write-up and gameplay video of Transference got me liking it. I always like the realistic kind of looking environment over the cartoon stuff. Yeah, let me go ahead and check out this. I have never seen this video here, this Gamescom gameplay video. Let's watch like just a few seconds of this and check this out. This shows more of the game than just the Walter test case demo. You could see how they kind of, the environment kind of glitches in and out. They use a lot of video screens as you're playing it, which really works in VR. Like, the one thing that we can do in VR is have old school looking TVs and put videos on them, and that actually looks really damn good. There was definitely a kind of a Stranger Things vibe here with the colors and the lights down the hallway and stuff. I don't think that's too shocking. And it's obvious that Elijah Woods played Resident Evil 7 in VR and probably said, you guys should kind of do this, because like when you're in the kitchen and stuff, there's like flies flying around, and it kind of did remind me of Resident Evil 7 to some degree. I was just walking around in the game and using snap turning, and it worked pretty good. But yeah, it's like this glitchiness, like things are glitching in and out, which is a clever idea from the standpoint that if the engine isn't done very well, it's like, no, that's part of the game. The engine is perfectly fine. The little glitching graphics that you're seeing, that's actually part of the world. That like buys into the world itself. Yeah, you'll look at little things, you can highlight them and examine them a little bit closer. Very Resident Evil 7-like actually in that way as well. You'll see different pictures. You're going through these different you're switching lights on and off, which basically are switching time periods, and that's a big part of it. So I'm still looking forward to this game, but it's no longer like, I mean, it looks like a good game to play, and it's probably going to be fun, and it's only 25 bucks, so not hugely expensive. The question is, how long will this whole game take? Is it only a couple of hours? That's kind of the question there. Okay, Roy Schwartz. Yeah, Roy got a brand new computer, and I know he was having some trouble setting it up. Indeed I did. Setup is trivial for me as I am new to this. Setup wouldn't be trivial, right? I would think it'd be kind of difficult. But I'm curious, Roy, so have you been playing, like, what is the most powerful experience you've experienced so far on your PC gaming rig? Have you tried First Contact? You got an Oculus Rift, right? Am I thinking you got an Oculus Rift? Or did you get a Samsung? I forget which one you got. But I would definitely try First Contact, like that rendering engine. There's just so many things. Like if I was a brand new PC VR player and never had PC VR before, I mean, just the lab, you know, just all the stuff that's in the lab, there would be so many free things that you could mess around with. That would be really cool. Lethal Weasel VR says, Transference reminds me of Nevermind. I think it will have the same strengths and weaknesses. Never played that. Road to VR has some gameplay footage of Population 1. Looks pretty good. Yeah, we looked at Population 1. We looked at that trailer yesterday, and that does look really good. Roy Schwartz is saying Bow to Blood is surprising all the reviewers. Procedurally generated stages and deep game loops. Yeah, guys, this Tuesday is going to be crazy with all the stuff that is coming out. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and throw on a trailer for Torn that was released relatively recently. This is the Mansion trailer. I think a lot of people might be sleeping on Torn. Let's go ahead and check this out, because this is a couple days away.
What happened to this place?
Follow me. I have a wife. She's here. But I don't know where. She could be anywhere. I have to help her. I have to get out of here. I have to find her. This is my fault. It's all my fault.
Yeah, that is Torn by Aspire Media. And of all the games that are coming this Tuesday, you know, you got Firewall, 0 Hour, you got Bow to Blood, you got this one. There's several others. There's like 5 or 6 games that are coming this Tuesday. This is the one that I'm most hyped for. For some reason, I get a little bit of a BioShock vibe from this. Maybe it's that scene right there. But I don't know why I get just a tiny bit of a BioShock vibe from it, but it looks kind of Myst, you know, kind of abduction style. So I think it does look pretty sweet. And I'll go ahead and throw on the full trailer for Torn. But I wonder, what games, if you guys are buying one of these games that's coming out Tuesday, what are you getting? Are you going to get Torn? Are you, if you're on PSVR, are you getting Bow to Blood? Are you getting Firewall 0 Hour? I'm still going to get Firewall with one of those aim controllers. I am going to get that. But I'm actually going to order it on September 1st, so I'm going to be a little bit late to the party. Paradise says, is Bow coming to PC? Not yet. Not yet. But it is made by Tribe Toy, and I don't believe it's published by Sony, so it probably will be coming to PC eventually. Yeah, Roy Schwartz got his computer from CyberPower, and Fluke is talking about the glitching, which I think was in Transference, reminding him of the original Tron. Hybrid says, if I can sell my 1080 Ti, I may move up to the 2080 Ti. No crypto mining ever, and a silicone winner FE edition. Otherwise, I'll be waiting until the 7nm die shrink. Torn by the guys who did Myst. No, you're thinking of God, what's that other one? There's another one coming. Now I completely lost the name of it. Torn is by Aspire Media. It's not the guys that did Myst. The guys that did Myst and Abduction have another game coming. Cedric Harris 12, he's saving his money for Defector. We still don't have a date on Defector. Kev Gret has Firewall and Torn pre-ordered. Roy has Firewall pre-ordered, and with Torn, he's torn. Yeah, Torn, I don't know. I think this looks pretty cool. We don't know a lot about Aspire Media. This is like their first big VR game. So, but it's coming in a couple days, so I am quite hyped on that. So why don't we go ahead and get into the Nvidia discussion, since we're talking graphics cards and things of that nature. Roy, what graphics card was in your CyberPower PC? Which one did you get? Okay. Okay, so Nvidia, yeah. So we got all the Nvidia information that came out while I was gone. Obviously, we're talking about the RTX 2000 series of cards based on Nvidia's Turing architecture, and just the straight up pricing of it. We got the 2080 Ti at $1,200, shipping around September 20th. We got the standard 2080 at $800, also shipping around September 20th. And then we have the 2070, which will be about $600, shipping later this year. Okay, so, oh, he's got a 1080 Ti with liquid cooling. So, Roy, you bought it at the perfect time. Nah, you probably should have waited like about another 3 weeks. Would have got a pretty good discount maybe on that whole thing, considering all these new cards. But, you know, you have to jump in at some point, right? So here's my take on graphics cards. Back in 1997, 1998, and 1999, I was really into this graphics cards thing. And I was a PC gamer back then. And it was in the days of, what was it called? You know, Voodoo, like 3DFX and all that, you know, that whole era that started around then. And we had the very first Unreal game, the single player Unreal game. And I was buying a new graphics card and upgrading my PC probably every 4 or 5 months. I was buying a new graphics card, new motherboards, just constantly. I was in the rat race like you wouldn't believe. I was always chasing a few more frames per second, you know, a little bit higher of a resolution. I was a graphics card junkie. This was 97, 98, 99. Then what happened was the Sega Dreamcast was released in September of 1999, and I was like, F it, I'm going to jump back to video games. And I got the Dreamcast. And then, of course, PlayStation 2 came out, and then the original Xbox came out. And so I left PC gaming, and I didn't care about PC gaming all the way until 2011. And in 2011, I built the PC that I'm basically using now, except I got, in spring of 2011, I got a GTX 560 Ti, which was a real powerhouse of a graphics card. It wasn't like the super, super high-end graphics card at that time. It was more like a 1070 or a 2070 of its generation. But man, that 560 Ti, let me tell you, that was a lot of bang for the buck. And anybody that can remember back to around 2011, 2012, around that time frame, the 560 Ti was a real breadwinner, man. And that was my graphics card for a number of years, worked absolutely great. Then I went back to console gaming with the arrival of PlayStation 4, Xbox One, got back into console gaming. And then just now with the arrival of VR, with the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift, have I gotten back into PC gaming. And the only thing I did to my computer was I took my 560 Ti out of there. I popped a 970 in there, and that's what I've been running with. Everything in my computer is still from spring 2011. So that's kind of my background history on graphics cards. And typically, what I used to like to do back in the days with graphics cards is I would never get the absolute cream of the crop one. I would always get whatever the most bang for the buck was in the 300 to 400-ish range. And so I would always be a little bit behind the curve, but I would always kind of jump up to that $300 or $400 card, sell off the previous card. But in this modern era, it's hundreds of dollars more. It isn't quite like it used to be. And with these new cards that we have now, I mean, you know, the 2080 Ti, 1200 bones. I remember when you could take 1200 bones and you could build your tower for 1200 bones, including the graphics card. So imagine if you wanted to build a new PC tower with the 2080 Ti in there, that's 1200 just for that component right there. So you're looking at a PC that might be like 2500 just for the tower if you're building it around that graphics card. The 2080, $800, you're saving 400 off of there. Obviously, you're not getting all the CUDA cores and all the ray tracing and gigaраys per second and all of that compared to the 2080 Ti. You drop down to the 2070, that is 600. See, the 2070 and the 1070, those were kind of my range. I would always kind of go after that sort of card. That's going to be around 600, shipping a little bit later this year. So what do these new cards bring to the table? Ray tracing, Tensor cores, RT cores, teraflops. DLSS, deep learning super sampling. Now, I'm not hardcore into this. I'll be honest with you guys. I am not, like, if you want to get like a real in-depth breakdown of all of this, check out Facepalm's new video that I think just came out today. He actually breaks it down really good. I actually checked that video out prior to this and got some of my information from there. And he has some good information. But basically, one of the cool things about the 2080 Ti, it's supposedly 1/5 as noisy as a 1080 Ti. Like, that's one of the downsides of the 1080 Ti. It's pretty freaking noisy, because my plan at this current juncture in time is one of you guys that is going to get the 2080 Ti around September 20th. Shoot me an email, info@vrgamerankings.com. I could buy your 1080 Ti if you want to hook me up for a really nice price on a 1080 Ti. I'm your man, and I can wait until September 20th. I'm not in any huge rush, so you can wait closer to when you're going to get your card. I can wait as well, because my current plan is to buy somebody's existing 1080 Ti, which is a giant upgrade over my 970. Yeah, I'm not going to have any of this ray tracing stuff, but I don't know that any of the ray tracing stuff is really going to make its way into VR gaming, at least in the next 8 to 11 months. I just don't, I don't see it happening right away. In fact, there's even some people are postulating that ray tracing on VR might not happen for a couple of years because of latency issues, that, there could be a latency problem here. But one of the things that Facepalm was talking about is the ray traced audio, the audio part of it with Nvidia VRWorks Audio SDK. And we know with audio how cool that could be, as far as like, if you do audio really, really, really well, it can just immerse you in a major way. And so that could be really cool. The multi-view rendering capabilities is also cool, especially if you end up with a Pimax and if you eventually get a Star VR at some point. Noah, what is up? Noah's in the building, of course. Mr. Magic Leap. Have they flown you out there yet? Plantation, Florida? Do you have a date when you're going? What is up on that? Did you get your Magic Leap 1? But, Matt, speaking of Magic Leap 1, it does really good, like 3D audio, and that is a big part of that. But let's see what people are talking about. Jim Hall says, this gen of cards are good for VR. Tensor cores for foveated rendering, ray tracing for realism, much more immersive, less so for flat. See, I don't know. I'm kind of flip-flopped. I kind of think these are much more important for flat gamers, because I don't know that we're getting ray tracing. Now, the foveated rendering, yes, there are some serious benefits. The tensor cores, the anti-aliasing, and the variable rate shading, like all of that could be huge for foveated rendering, but we don't have foveated rendering yet. Like, we don't have any of these, none of the headsets have foveated rendering yet. And then like VRium, it says, for VR to benefit ray tracing, we will have to SLI RTX with their new Nvidia Link. Yeah, you can SLI them. And then you're talking about having a PC that costs like $7,000 if you're SLIing two 2080 Ti's and doing all of that. But I mean, if you got the money to do it. Jim Hall says, at Hybrid Energy, but if new headsets make use of eye tracking and foveated rendering, ray tracing will take a few generations to be useful, but it's a start. Yeah, so basically the way this works with these cards is pretty much the same way it has always worked, which is if you've got the money to burn, go ahead, might as well. If I had the money to burn, why not? There's a benefit to having the highest end consumer card that you can, having that 2080 Ti. There's a benefit to having that. The benefit is you're never second guessing whether you're missing out on some part of the experience. For example, I've got a 970 right now. I've been living with a 970 for a long time. Gary and Steve have been chilling with their 1080 Ti's. How many experiences have I been in where the experience was like craptacular, but for them it was flowing smoothly. There's certain things I haven't been able to experience on my 970. And so if you jump up to that highest level card, you are absolutely, you know, you don't have to worry about what you're missing out on. It's the peace of mind knowing that you have that high end. Let's see. Yeah, Hybrid Energy and Fluke, they're both mentioning that In Death has a special patch that's coming that is going to take advantage of these cards on September 20th, right when these new cards come out. And yeah, I am an In Death fanboy. And actually, let's go ahead and check out that trailer. This is a trailer that was also released when I was gone, Paradise Lost. I've downloaded this trailer, but I've never checked it out, so we'll go ahead and watch it together. You guys have probably seen it a million times, but let's go ahead and check this out. Yeah, so that is Paradise Lost In Death, right? And is this like an expansion, or is this just like a free update that is coming to In Death? Not sure about that, but I mean, I'm not seeing anything on this trailer here that is like, oh my God, I absolutely need one of these new graphics cards. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna look better. I'm sure it's gonna have some nice benefits. But will it actually feature any kind of ray tracing whatsoever? That's the question, because like Nvidia, they've kind of dodged every question that has come their way in regards to actual real-time ray tracing in VR games. Like it may not be possible with some of the latency that we deal with in VR. So I'm not sure exactly which effects this In Death update is going to have. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of In Death. It's a very fun game. It's a gamer's game is what I talk about it. I mean, it's playability. It reminds me of going back in my flat days and just playing the game for like tight controls, and not so much about like the visuals, the immersion and all of that, but just the controls and like feeling like you really have agency over what you're trying to do. When you die, you feel like, okay, yeah, I deserve to die. It was my fault. I didn't do the right thing. And I'm a big fan of In Death. I do want to see these new levels. Some of these new backgrounds and stuff look pretty cool. So, I mean, and some of these new enemies probably are going to scare the living daylights out of me. Like, especially these ones that fly at you. That is going to be cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Okay, let's see what people are saying up here. Hybrid Energy says just a new location and a new boss, so maybe not a huge deal. Chris Cox says it's still in early access, so all free and part of the main game. Hussein X says, I bought In Death a while back because of you and loved it. Oh, because I loved it. He's yet to play it, though. Dude, you got to play it. As long as you don't get scared of it, you will like it, I believe. I believe anybody, I just think it has great gameplay. Anthony Mann says, love playing In Death, play it every day. In Death is a great game too, from the standpoint of you can hop into it and play it for like 25 minutes and just get a quick fix and then go on to something else. I was doing that all the time. Noah says he is flying out on the 13th of September, and he will be visiting on the 14th. He's staying from Sunday to Thursday. So Noah is going to visit the Magic Leap Kingdom. He is going to visit Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It'll be interesting to see if he actually gets to meet Roni Abovitz. I think he's getting a complimentary Magic Leap 1, which that is freaking super awesome. How awesome would it be to get a complimentary Magic Leap one. And there's I'll probably in one of my shows next week get a little bit more into Magic Leap a little bit, because there's a lot of little videos that have been leaking out. It's obviously the one of the things we've learned with Magic Leap is it's not necessarily like changing the world, but it's also a little bit undersold at the same time. So it's kind of like people are dismissing it too quickly. Chris Richardson says, I'm betting the 2nd gen Ray Trace card will have a huge jump over this Bleeding Edge card. Lessons learned might lead to a faster cycle than normal if these aren't well received. Any stock wobble key. That's always the case. You know, the longer you wait, obviously you're going to get more improvements. It's like me. You know, I've had a 970 all this time. If I jumped directly to a 2070 and completely bypassed the Pascal generation of cards, that would be like a huge freaking leap, you know, to be able to do. And you know, you're going to take advantage of that every time, but then you're missing out all those years, you know. So you know, it's one of those things. Let's see. I have an NDA. Noah's talking about Magic Leap. Not sure what he means with that. VREM says ray tracing will enhance the reality of VR world that will appear more alive and especially place that hasn't much of moving things. Well, one of the things that ray tracing could really work for is stuff like Henry, stuff that like a pre-rendered kind of a deal where you're basically sitting in a certain spot. And for experiences, like I think ray tracing could be absolutely huge for experiences. Like Oculus could possibly design something along the lines of Henry that really takes advantage of real-time ray tracing, assuming that the latency thing, again, we've got to wait and see. So we also have to wait and see as far as benchmarks, because Nvidia has given us all these interesting benchmarks on all these cards, but they're kind of throwing out like their own little RTX ops, 6 times greater than Pascal, gigaраys per second, 10 times over Pascal. These terms, like, they don't really mean anything to us. It's kind of like Nvidia has made up these terms themselves, and I'm sure they have legitimate meaning. They can't just pull shit out of their ass and make stuff up completely. But we've heard all the promises the last time around about all this incredible things that were going to happen. And a lot of it never really happened. There wasn't, I mean, I can't remember a situation where somebody was playing something on a 1080 Ti. I'm on my 970 and they're like having like a completely different experience that is so beyond. No, they're able to super sample the hell out of shit and it looks a little bit better, but not any major night and day difference. So a lot of the promises that we got in the Pascal generation, I don't believe a lot of them really ultimately showed through. And that could be the same thing with this. Of course, I'm saying this from the standpoint of not having just ridiculous money to blow on this stuff, where if I did, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm getting the 2080 Ti RTX ops, baby, for the win. So, you know, that's kind of my thoughts on all of that. But I mean, these new cards, it's exciting. September 20th is when they're all coming out. And the good news is there will be a lot of 1080 Ti's that are going to go on sale. A lot of people will be dumping their 1080 Ti's and moving up. And that's where I'm hoping to go, is to get somebody's 1080 Ti and make my upgrade there. And so, yeah, that would be awesome. So anyway, let's go to a news story here. We've been on these cards for a minute. Let's see, what else did we want to get into? Well, you know what? This is Be the Hero. So if you guys check this out, there's a demo for this. I wanted to try the demo for this last night. Didn't actually get around to it. I was going to, but didn't. But let's just check out this game trailer real quick. This is available right now. $20, I believe. So yeah, Be the Hero is available right now. It is $20. There is a demo. I definitely will try that demo out at some point today. And so I'll have my thoughts on it tomorrow. But I've heard that people, some people were really liking the locomotion of it. VR Spry Guy said he tried the demo today, didn't like it. I've also heard that the length of this game is like really short, like ridiculously short almost, for the $20 price. Like, some people have bought the game and they like the game, but they think it's just ridiculously short. So Hybrid Energy says, this game looks bad. VR games like this, I feel, are so 2016. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of the goofy little mixed reality video. I think these mixed reality videos, though, these are good. We need to have more videos like this, because I think it shows people that have never ever played VR before what VR, you kind of get a better idea of what the person is maybe experiencing and how they feel in it. So I mean, you know, it's a cool trailer. I think it looks a little generic. You know, it's definitely a bit on the generic side, but I'll certainly check that out later today. So that is Be the Hero, currently available right now. Now here's a trailer called A Mars Journey Red Turtle. I know nothing about this, but I know it's on the Oculus store for like $8. Let's check this out. It's supposed to be photoreal Mars experience. Yeah, so we don't get a lot of that because they are trying to sell it for $8. I believe $7.99 on the Oculus Store. I think it's pretty new on the Oculus Store, but this is supposed to be, we've got, I don't know how many different Mars experiences are there in VR. It seems like there's a new Mars VR related thing every other day. We've got Unearthing Mars 1, Unearthing Mars 2, which actually looks pretty freaking cool, coming in late September for PSVR. This is not a game. This is an experience. The big deal with this is it's supposed to have these photoreal visuals. The problem is our headsets, even if it really did have like legit photoreal visuals, I don't think the current headsets that we have right now can't really take advantage of that. So I think a lot of that is lost, but you know, looks kind of cool. So that is on the Oculus Store, brand new. Just happened to see that earlier today. Thought I would mention that. Okay, let's see here. Oh, Fluke is saying, don't buy Red Turtle. I tested the beta and some of my feedback was I wouldn't pay for something so incredibly short. It's demo length and that's being generous. Ouch. Yeah, so I guess avoid that or wait for it to be free or something. Maybe don't mess around with that. So that is the Mars VR thing. Okay, so a couple other things I'll mention is I did fire up my PlayStation VR yesterday to be able to play that Transference demo. And I figured while I was in there, I might as well see, are there any other free demos? Any things maybe I haven't sampled yet before? And there were a couple of other things that I did check out, and they're kind of cool. So Tom Grennan VR, I'm going to go ahead and throw this trailer up on the screen. Let's watch just a few seconds of it and see. So I don't know this artist personally, this guy Tom Grennan. I'm not familiar with him.
Hey, I'm Tom Grennan, and I'm shooting at a green room for my
Hello, mate. I'm Tom Grennan. Hello.
Well, we're doing something that I think has never really been done before. We're capturing a band in virtual reality using a lot of new technology that really we're trying out for the very first time.
Okay, so that guy Ian Bickerstaff, he was the guy that worked with the man, what was the other one called? Joshua Bell, right? Was it Joshua Bell? You know, the violinist guy. Joshua whatever it was. He did that. And I thought that that was done really, really well. And this technology that they're using for this, I watched this last night. There's 2 different songs that you can check out. And basically, it's just a little music video is really what it is. It's just like a live performance of an artist, like right in front of you, performing. And it looks pretty damn good. I think if we had like all the biggest artists that people are really into, like whatever your favorite musical artist happens to be, if everybody had their songs done in this way, I think actually this would be something that could really appeal to people that have no knowledge of VR, no interest in VR, but if they were shown their favorite artist in this kind of format, they might be like, oh my God, holy shit, it looks like I'm right here. You know, it looks like this looks kind of real, you know, because I mean, I did see some screen door effect on that main singer, Tom Grennan. But it does kind of look like the dude is right there. See, what they do is they kind of render the backgrounds like this. It's kind of smoke and mirrors. So they basically have these render backgrounds that are just there, and then they have these guys superimposed over the top of it. And it's just basically stereoscopic 3D is what it is, but over the render background and the way it's presented, and then the fact that you have no ghosting in that perfect 3D, it's actually pretty cool. So I was kind of impressed with this, and it's a free experience, you know, very similar to the Joshua Bell thing. Ian Bickerstaff, he's the one that worked on that. And Sony does have Sony Music, and they have access to all these different like artists that they have in their stables. So they can get a lot of these artists and do some cool things with this. And I really do believe this could be very beneficial for VR going forward. Like I'm telling you, if you knew somebody that like Tom Grennan was like their favorite artist, period, and you showed them this experience, they would be like, oh God, I need to buy a freaking VR headset right away, you know, because they'd probably be really blown away by it. I don't really know this guy, not really into this guy. I thought it was pretty cool. The music was fine. I didn't have a problem with it, and I thought it would be pretty cool. So definitely worth trying if you have a PSVR headset. So I did check that out. That was kind of cool. Another thing that I checked out really quick, and I do think you might be able to get this on other headsets. In fact, this trailer is for the Gear VR. Let's just watch this trailer for a sec.
To the cloud. I'll ask you a few questions, and your answers will help me to replicate you here.
So
protocol in progress.
This little experience here is called In the Cloud VR Afterlife, and it's a short little experiential type of thing, but I like this stuff. I like this stuff in VR. It's free. A lot of stuff that we can sample. Some of it looks pretty cool and interesting. You have to answer all these different questions, and then it kind of like throws these visuals out at you. It's kind of cool. Nothing to write home about, but another free experience. I think you might be able to try this on your Oculus Go, Gear VR. Not sure if you can try this on the Rift or Vive. Not too bad. Just something I checked out real quick. Wasn't bad at all. Chris Cox says, just watch VR porn and get it over with. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Speaking of VR porn, I mean, I'm not going to go down that road too much here, but I remember before I ever got VR, I thought VR porn would be way the hell better than it was. And I thought it would be like, I thought VR porn would be so freaking incredible that VR was just going to dominate everything. And it is going to happen. That is going to happen. There's no question about it. But I thought it was going to happen faster, right? And when I first got VR, I did try some of these porn things. I'm not going to lie. But I wasn't very impressed with a lot of stuff that I tried. In fact, it was all pretty craptacular as far as I was concerned. It was so blurry. It was like YouTube video. Wasn't done. I'm talking YouTube like 2006 quality, you know, pixelated. wasn't done very well. And I basically gave up on VR porn and figured, oh, it's just simply not ready. We're not there yet. Wait another 5 years and check back. But what I've understood is, now I haven't personally done this, of course, but what I've heard is that if you find the right videos by the right providers done in the right way, there's actually some really good stuff out there. And that kind of goes back to that Amaze 3D thing that I tried the other day. I don't know if I still have that trailer here, that Amaze 3D. Let's see if I can find it again. But yeah, so this Amaze 3D, now this trailer doesn't actually show the experience that I tried, but it did have something that was it was basically like a dating simulator where you're basically you're trying to hook up with this chick. You're trying to score with this chick, right? And it was kind of Sega CD style, where you make these, or choose your own adventure style, where you're making these decisions, and then if you make the right decision, she's like, yeah, cool. You make the wrong decision, she's like, I'm gonna go to sleep, see you later, why don't you go home? Or she's like, get the hell out of here, you need to go. Like, it's one of these kinds of things. And I thought it was fun, I thought it was cool, and it was almost a little VR pornish. And the thing that they did with it, it was 180 degrees, and it looked pretty clean, it looked pretty clear. You know, this was on an Oculus Go, and I was mildly impressed with that. So I'm sure that there probably is some porn that is out there that is pretty incredible, but I haven't really tried. I'm not even lying here. I haven't really tried it, because like the stuff that I tried, I was disappointed with. The other problem with like porn in VR, and this is something that needs to be figured out. Maybe it's been figured out and I just don't know yet. But when I was trying a lot of these various porn type of things, I was using like Whirligig video player, and it was like going into the settings, and you know, you'd have these Amazon women, or it was all distorted. Like, they need to figure this shit out, okay? Oculus needs to figure this shit out. HTC needs to figure this shit out. We need a video player that will take whatever that video is and automatically adjust it for the headset that you're using, and use it the right way, you know, and figure it out the right way. Because like fumbling through these weird video players that don't have the format right, it's not, you know, SBS or whatever your different little 3D settings are, you have to have it dialed in for it to work right. And that's a problem there. And, you know, some people are saying here in chat, they're saying you got to make sure your door is closed and locked, and you got to, you know, worry about all of that. Hybrid Energy says they have already, Anthony. It's been a while. Whirligig now has a setting you can adjust every bit of the scale percentage to make them not look big or small. But what I'm saying is, we need it to be where you don't have to adjust anything, where it gets the video and it automatically adjusts it. You know, it automatically converts the video. Like, it needs to know that you're using an Oculus Rift, and it needs to know exactly what to make the settings for somebody that's using an Oculus Rift. You shouldn't have to go in and fiddle with anything. That is the problem right now, in my opinion. Dave Day says Badoink VR is super good these days. I haven't tried any of them in like a year or two. So I probably should try some demo material for scientific purposes, you know, to be able to report on it, of course. I should try that and see if improvements have been made by leaps and bounds. Okay, so let's go back and see. Did I have any other trailers I wanted to get into? I think I kind of ran through what I had here. So what I'll do is let's just put on some miscellaneous trailer. I'll put on this Fisherman's Tale. Of course, I would have to scale it. You know, one thing I heard about this game here, A Fisherman's Tale, somebody got some hands-on time with it and said they were kind of blown away by it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, Gary Haylock, for science. I need to try this stuff for science. I mean, I have to do it. Jim Hall says, first time I saw VR porn, I was like, oh my God, if this doesn't sell VR, nothing will. Man, I was the opposite. I was like, dude, this is not going to sell VR. They need to fix this. You know, they need to fix this in a major, major way. But maybe you tried it a lot later than I did, because I was trying it spring 2016 when I first got my Vive. I thought it would, dude, I thought I'd put this on and there'd be like a naked lady standing like 5 feet away, and I would think that lady is real. Oh my God, this is incredible. And it wasn't there yet. I don't know where we are now, but it'll be interesting to see. Jim Hall says, you need to try Badoink with the Go with high res. Yeah, I certainly need to do that. One thing I haven't figured out in regards to the Oculus Go is like putting your own video files on the Oculus Go and how that works. Like, I have no idea how that works, where people are taking like Blu-rays and stuff, 3D Blu-rays, and ripping them and getting them on their Go, or like this Badoink. Like, I'm assuming they don't have a Badoink app on your Go that can get these videos. So I'm assuming you have to like copy these videos and then get them onto your Go, like side load them or something. I haven't tried any of that stuff. I need to try it. Oh, Jim Hall says he tried it for a first time only a month ago. Yeah, so 2 years after me, basically. Download VR 180 videos from YouTube, Anthony, copy them to your Go, play in the gallery, and it automatically plays the video properly. Huh, that sounds really simple, Chris Richardson, so I will certainly give that a try. Okay, so why don't we do... We've been going for a little bit over an hour here, so show probably is in the last throes of being a show. But what I'll do here real quick is I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Vive subreddit, the Oculus subreddit, and the PSVR subreddit right before bouncing out of here, just to see if there's any little last-minute stories, any last-minute things that people are talking about here. Some people are talking about firmware updates, base station problems, quite a bit of people talking about problems on the Vive subreddit, different kind of firmware issues, things like that. But I'm not really seeing anything major there. Let me bounce over to the Oculus subreddit. On Oculus, they're talking about Rift 1.30 release notes. So I guess there's some update to the Oculus Rift that just passed through. Is the Climb worth buying? That's one of the questions. I mean, it really depends on the price. I've always thought the price was a little bit ridiculous on the Climb. One guy says the game itself is very impressive, had some good times to be had. He got it for $5 on a sale. Wait for a sale. See, yeah, I got it on a really good sale, and it was cool for that, but I honestly got bored after a little while. But the Climb is cool for showing non-VR people, because the idea of climbing a mountain is pretty easy to understand for a lot of people. The Mars Journey Red Turtle, they're talking about that. This is where I saw that. There's only 4 comments on that. I don't know, Fluke should probably jump in there and tell people to give people the caution flag. And not much else going on here on the Oculus subreddit. Let me take a quick check over to PSVR. Everybody on PSVR is obviously getting ready for Tuesday when a whole ton of games. Let me see what... I'm going to look at their upcoming games release. Yeah, Firewall 0 Hour, Torn. They don't have a full list of all the games that are coming. Ace Combat 7, 3 hours full length on PSVR. This is a tweet. Bad news about Ace Combat 7 on PSVR. Content will be only 5 missions with an estimated 3 hours total length. This was confirmed at Gamescom 2018. That means about 20 to 30 minutes per mission. So far from 10 to 15 total hours that Bandai Namco announced. Yeah, that is highly disappointing. I mean, we can't lie about that. So Ace Combat, does appear that there are some definite disappointments here with Ace Combat. My suggestion, though, I mean, if you are a PSVR player, is why not... I mean, one of the advantages of PlayStation VR, they still have physical media. So Ace Combat 7 is likely to be the kind of game that would be at a Redbox kiosk, and you could basically rent it for like 2 days pretty much. You know, go there early on an average day, you rent it, play it all damn day long, play it a little bit the next day. You got to get it back by like 9 p.m. or whatever. You know, that's how it usually works with Redbox. And when you have a physical high-profile game like Ace Combat 7, you can get it at a Redbox. And so that's probably how I'm going to try Ace Combat 7. I know this thing got dated too. Is it like January something? I forget what the date was.
How penal is this penal unit?
But yeah, that's unfortunate. This new Ace Combat news, definitely a bit unfortunate. 5 missions with an estimated 3 hours total length. 20 to 30 minutes per mission. Yeah, that's certainly disappointing, but at least we know we can Redbox it. Let's see, any other news going on the PlayStation VR subreddit? They're talking about Firewall 0 Hour is basically £28 at Argos. So if you are in the UK, you can get a nice little discount with that. And that's pretty much it here on the PSVR subreddit. I also saw, you know, with Transference, I saw that, Torn. So Torn on Tuesday, its price is $29.99, but if you are a PS Plus subscriber, you can get Torn for $25.49. So that's kind of a nice little discount here. Although, honestly, if you have both a PlayStation VR and either a Rift or a Vive, I would probably get the PC VR version of Torn. Probably would be more impressive. So let's see what people are talking about in chat, and then I'll go ahead and bounce out of here. Dave Day, I use Gear VR, so I just transfer the files from my MacBook to my phone's SD card. Skybox works too, I've heard. Just use the browser. Yeah, I'm going to have to check like some YouTube video where somebody breaks it down. You know, the one thing I need in regards to a YouTube video about the Oculus Go, is there a YouTube video where they really break down on how to use your Xbox One controller that you've paired to your Oculus Go? And is it possible to use that Xbox One controller and never have to use the little pointer thing too? Because that was my biggest problem in using the Oculus Go over like this last week, is I'm using my Xbox One controller and I'm trying to like get back to the menu and trying to exit out of the app that I'm in. And it's just so damn clunky. And so then I grab my pointer, and now I have my Xbox controller, my pointer. And so I'm juggling all these different things. There must be a way to do it the right way. I just don't know how. So I'm going to have to look at how that works. VR Spry Guy says Ace Combat is actually too long of a game for Anthony. Yeah, that's why it's going to be perfect for a rental. It's definitely something that I will just rent at Redbox. I will be perfectly fine with that. I'm not really the airplane flying guy. In the cockpit, it does look like it would be pretty sweet. Like when you see some of these scenes where it's in the cockpit, that would be sweet in VR. But the problem I get into with all these dogfighting games is you basically just bank around, try to get the guy, you know, so you can shoot your heat-sinking missiles at him, and then bank around, and you see a lot of clouds, you see blue sky, and you're just banking and dogfighting, and it's like after about 20 minutes of that, I'm bored as hell. So I don't know. I honestly like the games where it's a little more Pilot Wing style. You're flying through rings and doing that type of stuff like Ultra Wings. I would rather honestly play something like that. Dave Day says, yes, assuming you have an Xbox controller with Bluetooth support, mine are pre-One S and can't pair. Now, I have an Xbox One S. It's like a brand new Xbox One S controller, and I did pair it, and it works, but I'm wondering if I just had a go in my Xbox One controller, and what if I lost my little pointer thing and just didn't have that at all? Can I do everything off my Xbox One controller and do that? Yes or no? That's the question, and hopefully there's a YouTube video out there where somebody breaks it down. But anyways, yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. Once again, I will be back tomorrow at our normal time of 11 a.m. Pacific time. And on tomorrow's episode, the one thing I didn't get into today is Santa Cruz, you know, the Santa Cruz information that we found out about. So I will probably go ahead and get into that Dave Day is saying it's app specific. So that's something that Oculus needs to figure out, or maybe Oculus needs to bring out their own controller that is perfect for the Go, that looks just like an Xbox controller, but you know, they've already worked with Xbox, so maybe they could work out a deal as far as that goes. But we need another controller, because I like using my Xbox One gamepad with stuff like Kin and In Space and Blaze Rush. I mean, all those games play a hell of a lot better when you're using the actual Xbox One S controller, but they need to figure it all out. Like, they need to figure out, like, how do you back out of the app? How do you close the app? And have like a standardized breakdown. They really need that. But yeah, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for episode 182 of the show. Remember, of course, to subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell a buddy about this channel if they don't know about it yet. And we will be back, of course, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I will see everybody then. And, you know, it's going to be a pretty exciting week this week. So many games. Torn, Bout of Blood, Firewall 0 Hour. There's even some other stuff that I'm completely forgetting. So we're going to have a lot of stuff to get into on this next week. So I will see everybody tomorrow. Take it easy. Later.